Good morning, listeners. Nigeria Bielsons. Welcome to another thought-provoking conversation that will be shaping our thoughts this morning. Yes, to your thought-provoking conversation shaping truth pursuing morning talk show. Let's Talk Nigeria right here on Golding 97.5 FM Yanagwa. It's another beautiful day to shine the spotlight on the heart of our nation, her people, her potential, and her persistent problems. I am Moye Steven.
And I am Paul Oblomugbasa.
Now, this morning, we are diving deep into a topic that touches the very soul of our collective identity. That Nigeria, with all its promise, all its brilliance, and all its baffling contradictions, remains a nation of paradoxes. Yes, we are a country blessed with human and natural resources, rich in culture and intellect, but also plagued with recurring cycles of bad governance, economic mismanagement, systemic corruption, tribalism, and insecurity. Why does this cycle persist? Why do we keep returning to square one despite being aware of what needs to change?
Being aware of what needs to change is good and is important. So this morning, we are not pointing fingers at just the leaders. We are turning the mirror on ourselves, these citizens. Our focus is on the mentality in itself, the way we think, act, and react to the challenges and opportunities of nation building. After all, Nigeria our own. The question is, are Nigerians truly ready to rewrite the narrative? Are we intelligent enough to break free from the chains of mental colonization, ethno-religious sentiment, get rich quick syndrome, and political apathy? Or we are too comfortable with the dysfunction, too emotionally attached to our tribes, too afraid to confront inconvenient truths?
Why do we idolize corrupt politicians? Why do we shun accountability? Why do we allow incompetence as long as the person in power is our own? Why do we treat politics as a dirty game yet expect clean governance? Yes, we are educated. Yes, we are creative. But intelligence isn't just academic. It's also moral, civic, and social. The real question is whether we possess or are developing the right mindsets, values, and commitment to change the story of Nigeria for good. Now, we are being joined by Barrister Parabuma Mbongo, a legal practitioner and public affairs analyst. Good morning to you. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Now, we would like to listen from you as well, our listeners, to participate, and we want you to participate actively. Let's look at this issue together dispassionately from different perspectives so that we will have a headway. So stay tuned, join the conversation, because it's Let's Talk Nigeria, and it's time for us to reason together. Now, before we start the conversation, I'll play an audio that is about the recent interview of one of Nigeria's foremost investigative journalists, David Udenyi, his recent perspective about Nigeria and Nigerians. Let's take a listen. We'll be back.
I would observe or just listen into the conversations happening around me in the office, because that was one of my favorite things to do. I wouldn't talk a lot. I would just listen and just try to get a feel for what's happening in the country, just a feel for the pulse on the ground. And there's this particular, I'm obviously not going to mention her name on air or her identity, but this was someone that I worked with at the time. This was someone who, she had gone to a private university in Nigeria, supposedly a very well-educated person, had finished with a second-class upper degree, was working alongside me. And I remember one day someone asked her point blank that this Buhari of a thing, that you're so hell bent on voting for this person, that Goodluck Jonathan has to go. Why exactly is it that you want to vote for Muhammadu Buhari? And this person looked us like square in the eye, eyeball to eyeball, and said, it's because Tinubu is my tribe man. Right? She was a Yoruba person, right? And the reason that answer stunned me more than anything else is not because that sort of sentiment is in short supply in Nigeria. It's not. But it's because of who was saying it. Who had gone to, she attended Covenant University, right? This is one of the most expensive private institutions in the country, right? The tuition fees run into the millions. Right? You can't be a poor person and go to Covenant University. Yep. So your parents have made that kind of investment into your education. You've come out, you've done your NYSC, so you've visited another part of the country. Your vistas are supposed to be wider. You've done all that, you've got a job, you're working with people in a multi-ethnic office. It's not as if this is an office where it's only Yoruba people that work there. There are people from all over the country who work there, right? And you open your mouth very proudly and say that the reason you are making an electoral decision is because the leader of the party that you want to vote for is from your tribe. And, there have been many sort of checkpoint incidents like that over the past 10 years where I've realized that, as much as we love to tell ourselves this myth that we are somehow very intelligent, where, Nigerians are this, Nigerians are that, it's actually not true at all. So Nigerians, by virtue of the sheer size of our population, we might have, compared to the rest of Africa, we might have a large number of high achieving people. But that's because the population of Nigeria is more than double the next most populated African country. So I think that inflates our self-image a lot, because there have been so many instances like this where I sit down and actually listen to people's thought process. And I realize that we are really nowhere near as a group, we're really nowhere near as bright or as intelligent as we think we are. The comment that sparked that tweet that you're referring to, that I made, was that, again, I'm not going to mention this person's name on air, but this person comes from the Southeast. I believe he comes from Imo State, and this is not a poor person. This person is the tech founder. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah. So this is not a random person off the street. This is a tech founder. This person doesn't even live in Nigeria anymore. This person lives in Oxford in the UK. This is someone that I've met a couple of times. And after Buhari died, he sort of wrote like a eulogy. And he was saying that, well, he has been supporting Buhari since 2007, and he made all this effort on behalf of the man. And even in 2011, when there was a riot after the election and people died, and Buhari didn't issue a statement, that he was running Buhari's Facebook fan page, and he issued a statement purporting to come from Buhari, and that the media ran with it, and that's how much he invested into the Buhari thing. And that, even when people around him asked him, why is he so hell-bent on this, that, he thought, and he still thinks, that the alternative wasn't a choice. In other words, 10 years after 2015, this guy is still saying that even now, he still believes that choosing Muhammadu Buhari over Goodluck Jonathan in 2015 was the right thing to do, because Goodluck Jonathan wasn't a choice. And that statement really triggered me, because I thought to myself, in the intervening 10 years, the organization you were trying to build in Nigeria, it failed. You basically ran away from Nigeria. You moved to the UK. You got a global talent visa, whatever. You and your family now live there. You have a job there, right? So you were supposed to be a founder who could have become a millionaire or billionaire in Nigeria. The Nigeria that Buhari built for you destroyed your dream, and you went to the UK and became a salary earner there. So the other people suffered other things, but you also suffered things. And even after all of that, after 10 years of evidence to the contrary, you still cannot get over your own ego and admit even to yourself that you saw things completely the wrong way. You made a mistake, or you misjudged, you made an error of judgment or that your way of thinking is fundamentally flawed and that you need to go back and re-examine how you analyze things. You know, he couldn't do it. And even after I made that comment, he still came back and was still arguing. So that again, there are so many of these interactions that over time have convinced me that it's not as if Nigerians are sort of innately foolish or unintelligent people, but I believe that Nigerian education is structured in such a way that the ability to critically examine and think things through in logical sequence is not a skill that is taught to us. If you have that skill, then that means you learned it on your own. Or you didn't come up in the Nigerian system. Because what the Nigerian system does, and I know this because I've been through the Nigerian educational system too, is that it teaches you to learn by rote. It teaches you to memorize things. It teaches you to commit things to memory and then to mislabel the ability to memorize things and to speak plenty of memorized English as intelligence. That's not intelligence. That's just memory.
David, that's really harsh. And I know Nigerians who are watching definitely will feel some kind of pinch.
That's it from David Odenye and his own thoughts. And now we are back to our guest here in the studio, Barrister Paragwema Ngoma. Once again, we want to appreciate you. You listened to David Odenye and you were nodding your head at some point. I don't know, you have something contrary to what he said. But then the topic is about, we're looking specifically on the topic, scrutinizing the mentality of Nigerians, and exactly what David Odenye was also speaking to. And we're asking the question: are Nigerians intelligent enough and willing to change the narrative for socio-political growth? And the question is that: are Nigerians intelligent? Let's start from there. What is wrong with the mentality of Nigerians? He made a lot of assertions, but I don't know what your own opening in the speech will be.
Intelligence alone is not sufficient to make required progress. Your intelligence have to be laced in humanity and standing in for what is right. Now, that definition of what is right shouldn't be laced with sentiments like where you're from, your status at the time, your region, your religion, you and all. It shouldn't be laced with those primordial sentiments. Intelligence laced with humanity. Now, let me give you a small story. Most of our parents, our fathers today, some of them in their 60s and in their 70s, if you observed, the only breadwinner in those families at the time took up the responsibility of taking care of all the family members, not just their children. In fact, sometimes they took care of the needs of others much more than they took care of their own needs. That was humanity. Now, the challenge of what we had is quite historic in the sense that, when colonization came, there was a challenge. Everybody couldn't be brought to queue in the same line. So in order to build structures that would be compliant with colonial interest, there was a need to hand into us certain systems and structures that would best suit the interest of the colonial masters. One of those structures is our educational system. If you have observed, if you're in a class and a question is posed, you have to raise your hand first. And it is only when you are pointed at that you can say a word. Now, what if what you want to say is an emergency? What if what you want to say is to tell everybody, please, let's leave this place, there is a bomb that is about to detonate? Nobody will listen to you until you shout or cause an uproar. At that point, they might be tempted to ask you, what is the problem? Our educational system is built in such a way that we are not given the leverage to think independently, stand independently, confront issues independent of the generally acceptable norm. That means it is a crime for you to think out of the box. And the minute you think out of the box and stand out, you become an endangered species, so to speak. It happens in your family, it happens in your community, it happens in your state, it happens in your region, it happens in the country. So many people are laid back. Now, education alone, the education that we have alone, is just get a job. go to the university, learn knowledge, basic knowledge, and go get a job. Not even creation of jobs, because that mentality is not there. The essence is to further enslave you into thinking that this is the process. You are not supposed to think entrepreneurial. So it was an educational ploy put in place deliberately to limit our thinking scopes in order to favor structures that are not really original to us. That is one of the challenge. The second part is that we have also lost our humanity. The minute you speak for the next man, the next thing we hear is, waiting concern you, not your business. Like then he said in that, I agree with him. I have seen very many intellectually sound people,
Exactly.
and when they open their mouth to address issues that move a bit out of intellectualism, you will see the lack of humanity, you will see the emptiness, sometimes you even see foolishness. But then you are not allowed to put these things on people's faces. It is more of the lack of this that is causing our problem. It's not really that we are not intelligent, but intelligence in itself is not enough to push a man to do what is right. In fact, it is better to have a fairly intelligent person with the right stock of humanity, empathy, and the rest than an intellectual person.
Interesting. You know, this foundation just set the course running for the conversation that we're having now. I just want to ask, what role do you think that sincerely over the period of time, cultural and societal norms have played in shaping the mentality of Nigerians? You know, you talked about that if someone stands out in the house, it will be personal non grata and things like that. When it comes to what's role of society, cultural things that really played in shaping Nigerians to think the way we do?
Now, you need to understand, most of our leaders, Jaja Opobo, Ken Saro-Wiwa, our king from Nembe, Benin, check all of the empires. The minute they stood against this structure, it didn't stand. We are more of a cultural people. We value our systems. Now, they know that your valuing your system would not yield the result that they like. So they deliberately push you off that value system by giving you an educational system that takes you off your cultural leanings. An African today, globally, is still one of the crop of people that are best behaved. You know, because those things were a part of our original cultural systems that is supposed to serve the best interest of everybody. Yeah. But because of westernization, some of these things are seen in nosedive. That means we are applying principles that are not originally ours. The challenge is that we are not able to do it as much as it should be done. And it is not also in our best interest, even though we have adopted it. So we are still hanging, there's still that hangout, is still there. Now, culturally and traditionally, if we had stayed with what we knew, if we had stayed with our structures, if we had stayed with our educational system, of course, education emanated from Africa. Forget the fact that it's not documented or deliberately not documented to favor colonialism and imperialists at the time. If we had stayed with our structure, we would have run things better and it would have been best for us. But as of today, even some of your culture, when you do them, it is declared as wizardry. So you see, deliberate destruction of the things that mean the things that would add more value to you. It is part of the neo-colonialism mentality, but many of our people have not seen it. So that is where we have a problem. It's not a function of education. Now, even the education in itself, or intelligence emanating from education, is from the system that is not supposed to serve your best interest. So how far can you drive this with a people that are fundamentally different, whose culture, ethnic leanings, traditional styles, moral standings are still different, grossly different from what you have learned? Today, if you dress anyhow in an African society and go out, before now, elders, they will not even scold you. People will just come and, maybe a lady is wearing something short. An elder will just come and wrap a wrapper over you because they believe that is your beauty.
That's your pride.
That's your
You're
pride.
honored.
You're not supposed to push it out. But today, a lot of the educated people, when they dress, is it your business? It's my body. That's what you hear from similarly educated people. We are taking too much of garbage that is not in our best interest and is miles away from our cultural leanings that are supposed to build our moral standard. What is worse today, even the institutions whose responsibilities it is to continually drum into us these cultural benefits and our uniqueness are not doing so. The National Orientation Agency, how many times have you heard it orient things? The church before now used to be another anchor. Even that, there is some dive. Parenting is also another place. It is no longer there. Social institutions put in place is a challenge. Today, even a traditional leader cannot even talk to a young man. They are dethroning them left, right, center. So you see, there is a deliberate whittling down of the institutions that hold our value there to enable us stand against imperialism. Imagine that Ken Saro-Wiwa gave up his life in belief of what to fight for what he believed in. How many of us can do that today? If you even do that, they will threaten you. They'll call goons. Social media people will be at you. The Nigerian police of armed forces will come to your house. They'll find frivolous offenses. They'll push you to the corner. But that is not who we are. It is adopted to enslave, keep us in shambles, and that is where we are at. So it's not so much of a function of lack of intelligence. It's intelligence in the wrong way, that is in the first place. And on the second hand, it is not laced with the values, the humanity that should make a man stand upright and all of that. That is where the crux of the challenge is.
So why do many Nigerians accept mediocrity in public service but demand excellence in private transactions?
Well, when a system has failed you over and over and over again, you lose hope or confidence. Now, the governance system in the country has consistently been on the nosedive. It has failed so much so that Peter Obi said he was going to do one term. And even reasonable people, if you see the level of insult thrown at him, because they are now used to, their mentality has been inundated by failure, so much so that they think this is not possible. Truth seems to be the lie. In fact, you are guilty until you prove yourself innocent. Sadly, that is the reality. In private transaction, it is more like, okay, I can hold these people accountable via the law. So if you breach, I will go to court, or I will do this and I will do that. But in public sector, the structures of governance in the public sector, by this, I say this with huge respect to the executive, to the judiciary, and to the legislature, they seem to be another arm of terrorism inflicted against the people. So most times, even their genuine interests do not fly. And this failure has been consistent so much so that people have lost belief and confidence in all of this system. So anything you do, just go, it's a result of, I don't tire. It's more like it. We are fed up with this. Let it just be the way it is. But then, to what extent can we make progress if these institutions that are supposed to save life, the fundamental responsibility of government is security of lives and property, if anti-life and property decisions are being taken on a daily, a non-enabling environment for us to thrive are being taken on a daily, it means that our destinies are also going back. Our progress is also going back. We cannot compete even amongst ourselves, and we cannot also compete in the global circle. Remember the introductory statement made by the journalist. Even the person that is doggedly supporting a failed system was a victim of this failed system.
And he ran.
And because he couldn't take no more, he escaped. Yet, despite the glaring realities of the colossal failure of the Muhammadu Buhari-led administration, who has also apologized to Nigerians from information, someone is still holding forth for that line of duty. Isn't that a shame?
When you ask a question, is that a shame? It's so much like a rhetorical question, because we see day in, day out. You go to the social media, go to everything. You're seeing people come out blatantly, supporting these things. But why do you think that it has become an institutional corruption and the ability to turn a blind eye to accountability has become a norm in our culture suddenly?
The reason why people turn a blind eye is not because they ordinarily want to turn a blind eye. For instance, the reason why there is voter apathy most times is not because people do not want to vote. It's because the votes they cast before have not yielded results. They have been sabotaged. So what is the need when this thing is not bringing results? Why waste my time and energy? There are those that have attempted to sue for accountability. What did they get? Some of them got killed. Some of them lost their jobs and livelihood. Some of them are suffering different forms of discrimination. Some of them made more enemies than friends. So why live my life with more enemies than friends when I can keep quiet and do a better life? More so, you must understand that there is enthroned weaponization of poverty.
Okay, now, because of what you just said now, I am moved to ask this question. It might sound somehow, but I know you have an answer. Do you think Nigerians truly are political conscious or just emotionally reactive?
There is political consciousness, but whether it is done in the full genuineness of the word is a different ball game. You can see a politically conscious person. By the time religion steps in, he begins to shudder.
Exactly.
You can see a very politically conscious person. By the time tribe comes in, he begins to shudder. You can see a politically conscious person. By the time money comes in, he begins to shudder. Those who fought for all of the emancipations that we had today were also offered monies and opportunities, but they turned them down. But is that the same stake as we have today? It also speaks to the nosedive of standards. I spoke to you about morals. I spoke to you about morals. Those are our fathers who trained all of those today. Is it that they could not, channel these resources to only their children, to making only their children better? They could have done that, but it was a sacrifice. It was a mindset. It was a moral. It was the attitude that was prevailing at the time. That was why they did it. So, yes, people can easily assert that they have moral, they have a political awareness. But when all of these intervening variables step in, to what extent would they still stand strong with those reality? That is the vital question. Many have flopped under these circumstances. And sometimes, speaking like an ordinary human being, I'm not putting up a justification. You look at yourself, there's nothing to write home about. You look at your family, there's nothing to write home about. You look at your immediate family, nothing. You look at your extended family, nothing. For you, the offer might be juicy enough to seem like an answer to prayers. Maybe is a miracle alert, like some people would call it. The blessings of God. People that have not worked and sees money, the blessings of God. It might seem like that for a very parochial-minded person. But for somebody who knows his onions, who is steadfast to the word, who believes that, this is a one do or no more, it becomes an issue. Recently, our own human rights activist, Basa, passed on. You need to go to the social media and see what people spoke about him. One of the standing principles was incorruptibility. Not because he wasn't offered opportunities, by several governments, past and present. Incorruptibility. Today he has passed on, but that legacy still stands. How many of the people who started with him stood the test of time? For some others, they think it's foolishness. He's always out there protesting and all of that. That's what they would think. But no, those grounds that he stood today is a fundamental principle that is etched in the hearts of many of us who saw him as a child, saw him as a teenager, and today we are witnesses his call to glory and going back to meet his ancestors just last month. These are the fundamental principles that we should look out for. It's not about belle full. Belle go always full.
Bella go always full. Let's open the phone line now because it's becoming more and more interesting here on the show. Scrutinizing the mentality of Nigerians. Are Nigerians intelligent? That's the question. Are they intelligent enough and willing to change the narrative for socio-political growth or socio-political change? That is the conversation this morning, and it's time for you to air your own opinion. Lend your voice to this conversation. Let's see and hear your own perspective. 0707 747 1522 0912 000 1975. We are live on Facebook right now, so you could also drop your messages there. We'll read your messages. or go to 97.5 Golden FM Yanagoa. Like the page, follow us, and drop your comment there on the live stream. And also send a text message to 0805 3277767. Let's get the first call now. Good morning. All right, we lost that. Just bring the calls coming in right now, and we will take the call and give you that, the opportunity to lend your voice to this conversation. Let's get this one out. And hello. Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Abuma Esquire.
Good morning.
Please a chance on the line.
Okay.
Good morning, Abby.
Please go ahead.
Talking about to scrutinize the Nigerians. Are we really intelligent? I would say we are. Maybe both in the positive and negative aspect. The positive aspect, when you see the truth and you say the truth, you may likely lose your life, or you may likely be termed as being a bad person, as being a protagonist, or against the government, or against the people, against the masses generally. The norm
comes. We most of us think that doing the right thing is foolishness. Most of us, only a very minute number of us think, because doing the right thing, especially in an environment like Nigeria, can be quite difficult. And because of that difficulty that comes with wanting to do the right thing, a lot of us, kind of run away. People think that it is the political leadership that is the problem of this country. It's the same thing. It is actually a Nigerian problem. Most of us are actually the problem. Because if it is only the leadership that is the problem would have been a thing. As at 1979, for example, when Shagari was president, most of the governors now were students. Now they have taken over. But this problem continues because it is from the masses that the leaders will come. And because the masses refuse to do what is right, you translate that same behavior into leadership, and then the problem perpetuates. Until most of us begin to appreciate doing what is right, the problem will continue. People will continue to pursue us away from our country because we carry this thing to go to their country, thinking we are smart, that we are destroying things. That's what we do. Our smartness, our intelligence is destructive. It does not build, but it breaks down. Until we change it, it will continue forever. Thank you.
I think I like the thought process of the last caller. He said many of our leaders today who are leaders tonight, they were students when the Second Republic came on board in the 1970, I think 1979, but then nothing has actually changed.
Rotimi Amechi did say that.
Oh, okay, you did. So let's take this call now. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Timothy Tangbar calling from Yenagoa.
Okay, please
All right.
go ahead.
The last caller just make a comment in respect to my mindset. Nigerians are intelligent. But instead of using our intelligence to yield something that will be profitable to make the well, right now, the society is something. Not the families, it's countries. So we begin to see sincerity because we have one against. So the country, the issue that we are having, if we can change our mindset that you handle a leader, we'll get it. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Although it was a bit distorted, but then thanks so much for your thoughts. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
This is Promise from Otueke.
Oh, okay. From Motueke. Are you calling from Motueke right now?
Yes, I'm calling from Otueke right now.
Okay. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, it's quite unfortunate that our president, our Mr. President, has been traveled all over the whole country. There is no impact. Look at the kind of we have. Just pursuing us like if Nigeria is a small country that we can think
and think what to take this, I call it reproofs and shame away from us. Because we Nigeria now, I look at us like we are nothing. Why in Nigeria we have so many talents, we have so many skills, but based on our politicians, they have no vision and they have no mission for the youth. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much. So let's analyze his comments. I mean, David Uday's comments. The educational system in Nigeria. If those who are, for example, this generation, we could think and act the way we are thinking. What would be the fate of those coming after us? Because it seems the education or the education we are getting right now is not making us think or act right. Because if the majority are this other way left, that means it's really bad. That's why the image of Nigeria is really, really bad outside. You know, we could be applauded as hardworking, resilient. You know, Nigerians dominate everywhere we go. But then, because the bad is more, and the mentality of the majority is that of negativity, it seems those who are actually working hard to uplift the nation positively are not being heard.
Now, it's possible that more people are working to put the nation in good shape. But the challenge is it is easier to remember bad things. And when most of your people are frequenting more of bad than they are of good, there seems to be an increased index, and it becomes a deductive reasoning. Mr. A, Mr. B, Mr. C is bad. These people are Nigerians, therefore Nigerians are bad. Now, that's where the narrative is. If you recall, we used to have just universities, but after a while, there were colleges of education where you do ND and HND. Those institutions were more practical based. It was at the time when they found that, the higher institution may not be yielding as much result, and there was need to industrialize and build competences, skills in our people to solve our problems. That came on board. Today, even those institutions are not furnished enough to build the requisite skill that we require, that we need to push our nation forward. That is speaking educationally. Even the education that we have is not even properly funded. Today, we do not even have history anymore. People will not even know the history of their fathers and their forefathers. It's deliberate to ensure that you don't know where you're coming from, you don't know your sacrifices, your issues are not documented, you don't know myths from facts, from realities and all of that, to push you off so that you'll be empty. Again, we have lost, not just that we lack a quest for education, it's more of the fact that we have lost the content of humanity, empathy, sympathy, tolerance, love, understanding. These basic things are lost. So no matter the quantum of your education, if you have lost humanity, it's like building something on nothing. It would not stand.
And now these days we have a lot of people graduating with the PhDs and here and there, and yet people are criticizing Nigeria of lacking intelligence.
You can have all of the book knowledge.
Book knowledge?
Yes, you can have all of the book knowledge.
But there's a difference between book knowledge and real intelligence.
Real intelligence is application. A lot of people have the book knowledge. To what extent are they even applying that knowledge to solving problems of society? Now, those that have applied, according to one of the caller, have done so even in the wrong.
Let's get a call. Let's get a call now. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good
morning. Your name, please.
Yeah, my name is Frank. I'm coming from Yenego.
Okay, Frank, please go ahead.
Yes. Like I always said, in Nigeria, you get education to steal money. In America, they get education to make impact to their country, to their citizens. At the time I used to ask, we value education more than skill. I just discovered that some oil companies, some other companies in Nigeria, that some white men are working in this company, are prisoners. They're less skilled in that prison. They now come and do practical work in Nigeria. How can we tell everything how we going to school from the graduate from PhD, this one, and if you see their books they are writing, You may even compare to the one the American one. So most people going to school every time, school. We should value skills. If you go to Europe, they value your skills more than the degree you have. So we should think about how we're going to do all this every time. If you don't go to school, in Nigeria, if you don't go to school, that means you're not to the pound. That's it. So it's not right. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Everyone has own perspective. Book knowledge.
You know, because when we're talking about this book knowledge, it's a matter because some persons you say Nigerians learn this book knowledge to circumvent and just make things just for them, just suit their own narrative. Okay, oh boys, my go school, my for myself,
so that maybe opportunity will come.
You understand?
The thing is, it's not. They are not applying the book knowledge properly. It is in the application of the book knowledge.
Rightful
application of the book knowledge. That's number. Is it not in this country where professors were appointed to be in charge of declaring results in the different states, and under their eyes, all of the electoral fraud have gone down.
This corroborates what Odeng is saying.
All of the electoral fraud. Look at Imo State, where the woman stood her ground. Look at Abia State.
Look at the result now.
Look at Abia State, where the woman stood her ground.
She applied book knowledge to...
You know, she had book knowledge, but she applied humanity. She rightly applied book knowledge and also did Look at what it is today. That state is...
gradually transforming.
Making significant progress. Now, had others with book knowledge also applied it rightly and used more, when you rig election, what you do is you are ruining the destiny of everybody in that place.
True.
So they don't care. The point is about content of character, morality, doing what is right. You know it. And values. That's where we have a problem. There's a sharp declaration.
Let's get this call now. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Thanks for joining us. Your name, please.
I'm King, calling from Azuko.
Okay, please go ahead.
So, before I make my comment, can I ask you a question, sir? So that will lead us to the answer.
Go ahead.
Okay. If somebody collected what belongs to you, and you know that thing belongs to you, and you refuse to go and take it back, and what you do is just to go into your house and start praying that God will come down and fight for you. Is that person a wise person?
No, you're not a wise person. That's number one. And number two, the taking it back requires that you do so in line with the provisions of the law and not resort to self-help.
Okay. And there is a difference between being talented and being wise.
I agree, sir.
Yes. So I want to throw this line that Nigerians, most of us are not wise, but we are only talented. Just like the example you gave about the professors giving the first results or something like that. We in Nigeria, we all know that, but how many of us stood up and stand against that? How can a wise person sit down somewhere?
You know that person is lacking common sense. That is on one side. There's another question I had from you guys. If Nigerians are politically enlightened or whatever.
Conscious.
Something like that. Yes. We are politically aware of what is happening, but we sell our conscience. We put our conscience on the line for just a pot of soup. Most times we go to elections, 10,000, 5,000, 20,000, the case may be. That money sometimes don't flow off the house. It ends on the road. That is conscience selling. Thank you very much. You guys are too much this morning.
Thank you very much. We appreciate you.
Well, the moment you just said that just reminded me of the late Gani Fawemi. He said you sell your vote for 500 naira and you jeopardize your next 4 years. Sometimes that will lead to even 8 years. You just go to the restroom in the next 3 hours and it's gone. But your next 4 years is the term, or even 8 years, it's going to be jeopardized for you and your children. And many people still do not get it. It seems as though some Nigerians are suffering from collective amnesia.
That's it. Good morning. Thanks for joining us. Your name, please.
Hello. Good morning, Chicago.
Morning. Good morning.
Yeah, thank you, sir. How you doing?
I
That's
think
so
so.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that for me, I think common sense and intelligence or whatever I get. For me, I think we give credence to intelligence, but we don't give credence to common sense. I wish we've been giving credence to common sense then. Because for me, I think the common sense surpasses intelligence. For applying the two, make you outstanding. So most times you see things like this because we don't apply the common sense. We take it for granted. Then we felt we've gotten intelligence, read all the books and all that. But I said that common sense tends to be the orientation. You understand? It's not that you have been intelligent and somebody is putting hot fire before you and intend to do it the other way around and you say you're intelligent. It's not by somebody sold his knowledge for money or whatever. It's just that you are not having the common sense. You are not having that orientation. If you are having it, not minding whatever case or situation, you won't be emotionally derailed. That's just it. We are emotionally derailed because we don't give presence to the ordinary sense, like they call it.
Well, also, are you there? You might probably want to call back to conclude your thoughts, but let's take this one. I guess might be just the last call for the day. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, I'm calling from Sabagria.
Okay.
My name is Away by name.
Okay, please go ahead.
You see, gentlemen in the radio, Golden Radio, I usually comment on this in terms of education in this country. We are just following paper qualification. That is what we are lacking. Paper qualification. If we can at least review this issue of paper qualification, it will be a better country. Will be a better country. Because when you say somebody have a first class, then you give that person automatic employment. You don't interview that person. You don't know whether that person qualifies for that school. You have to make sure that person get the right to get that first class. A lot of things are going wrong in our institutions. But we see this paper qualification. See, Nigerians, we don't know how to read and write. We are not educated. Anybody can come and question me. We only know how to read and write. But this thing we are not educated. Okay, we want to use our education. What have we produced? What have we manufactured? What scientists? What vaccine have we produced? That's one of the professors can come and challenge me. We only just say prof, doctor. We are achieving nothing. So to me, government should realize that I know they are not hearing, but government should realize that this paper qualification should be eradicated. Yes, you are qualified. I want to give you scholarship. I want to employ you. Oh yeah, come on, I want to interview you. Whether you are qualified for that first, where you merit that first class. So those people see there was a time when CBN conducted an interview, if you can remember. They call for this first class, second class upper to come and do interview for them to be employed. Do you believe how many did they get? Very minute. The number they were looking for, they did not get it. They now fall back to those who get first class. And when they went for interview, they made their requirement and they were employed. So this paper qualification issue is a problem we are facing in this country. Eradicate that thing. There will be no malpractice again. Everybody will focus and read and study this on our own book and get that qualification if we can eradicate this paper qualification issue. Thank you.
All right, then thank you very much. Although it's not about paper qualification, the conversation on paper qualification, but it's all interconnected. But how would you conclude this conversation? I mean, with all we have discussed, Barrister Igbongo.
For me, critically, we have to go back to our values. A man with value is 2 million times better than a man with just education.
Book education, paper
qualification. We should go back to if you look at our constitution, let me use this as a parting shot. If you find when they said a school SAT, a school certificate can be a precedent, a school SAT or its equivalent. That provision for equivalence, people really didn't understand it. It was for a practical part, a person that has gotten practical knowledge in something else that equates with that paper qualification.
True.
You know, that's why the former president at the time, the basis for the judgment of the court at that time is that he has been in the military. He has participated in the military to a certain rank, meaning at the time of acquiring school certificate, that military experience was an equivalent.
He went to military school as well.
Yes, that military experience going through the was an equivalent of the school certificate. So even the draftsmen of our constitution many years back understood the value of practicability of doing things, even though they also knew that you could come with paper qualification. So we should try to merge these things. The colleges of education, the HNDs that are supposed to give us practical knowledge too, even in the civil service, they are discriminated against.
Yeah.
So we have thrown out the value of the things that will help us.
And everybody wants to get a master's.
Yes,
they want to get a PhD.
We have thrown away the things that will help us, and we are now having an unhealthy intercourse with the ones that will not help us. That's where we are at today. So we must go back to our value system.
Back to the basis.
Go back to our value system. In fact, when I was taught law, they say it's better to have a bad law and a good administrator of the law than to have a good law and a bad administrator of the law. Value is key.
That's right. Thank you, Barrister Paraboma Mbomo, for coming today. We do appreciate you. We always love having you on the show. And thank you so much for coming today to give your own perspective to this particular topic.
It's always my pleasure.
Bayelsans will be by Bayelsa and Nigeria will be by Nigerians. Let's make it work. It is possible. My name is Paul Oblomugbasa. Stay blessed.
And my name is Moye Steven, reminding you that Let's Talk Nigeria has been nominated for the best program on radio at the Bayelsa Media Awards. So it's up to you to vote and keep voting for Let's Talk Nigeria to emerge as the best program of the year. Bayelsa Media Awards. Once again, thank you so much for joining and for being part of the program. Tomorrow we're coming with another bumper package of Let's Talk Nigeria. Bye for now.